Welcome back to Unraveled Season 2, Episode 2. We are exploring conflict resolution with the self. I'm LaToya Maria.
I'm Aseanté Renee.
And let's get into this.
My question for you is, from a somatic place, what would you recommend once people have taken the pause? Or if they're in it and maybe they're not taking the pause, but they recognize, oh, this is not me at 3 and 4. This is me jumping to 7 and 8.
Presence. That may be really challenging. It's like, presence?
That's the problem. Everybody's present.
But are they?
Ooh, say more.
We already talked about it. Are we in the room? Am I here now? So being willing to create the pause within yourself. Now, this is a skill that takes time to develop.
Your whole body just went, okay, so.
No,
let me tell you, I'm also still working on this.
No, everyone. This is a serious skill that you have to take time with this one. But I think it's important to name.
Fair.
All right. When I say presence, it's really about being able to stay with yourself, all of yourselves. So the self that's come forward, the self that's taken a step back, and the self that actually wants to see this resolved. And you're like, what? First of all, stop acting like y'all don't do the most. Stop acting like y'all don't think about 20,000 things that you're not capable. You are capable of this.
Okay, I want you to say that again. No, for real. Because it's like, what do you mean my present self and the self that doesn't want? I was like, while you are literally in a situation.
There are so many.
You were thinking about, in your life, you wake up and you're like, okay, I got to manage this. I got to get this from Amazon. I got to handle this thing. I got to take care of it. Like, we know how to do that.
It happens.
So you can do the thing that you're talking about.
Like, do not.
No, you're right. I was like, say that again. Because you can.
I'm not hearing it when you already do the most. And it's beautiful.
In your brain.
So you're capable. You're very capable. We are all capable of it. Now, it means taking on this responsibility and being accountable for your capacity. Use that skill for something that's going to actually be meaningful in this relationship that you care about. Yeah. And so, the self that's come to the fore that is wanting to protect, defend, valid. Okay. Take accountability and take note of that self. Oh, yeah, this version of LaToya is really about to turn this place out.
She's in the room.
So
we have her in the room.
Always ready. Anyway, and then we have...
She's in the room. So we got one.
All right. That came to the fore. We had the version of herself that was present whenever the conflict showed up. And so it was the most present, if you will. We'll say self, or the current self.
The current self's in the room. Okay.
And then the future self, we will say. The future self. And I will emphasize this with saying, like, the self that's coming in the protector. Let's say we'll call that the ego self. Not just a self that is, because the ego is there to protect.
Right. The ego is actually not a bad thing.
We do not diminish
the
ego. We love the ego. Is so... Episode 4. Anyway, so we're going to get there.
We're going to talk about the unchecked or unhealed ego. That's the wounded ego.
The wounded ego.
But that's showing up as the protector.
The showing up as the protector, right? And then you have your future self, the one that can envision, because apparently they care enough to bring everybody on board, that wants to see this resolved and a coming together. And so your presence with that self gives you an opportunity to do what I like to call, you've heard it before, possibly, a body scan. Body. What does that really mean? Am I going to do a body scan where I'm like, okay, my toes, my ankle? You can do that. That's perfectly fine.
I'm telling you, I'm not going to do that while I'm in the middle of a conflict.
Some people can, some people can't.
I am not said people.
That's not said people. So doing a body scan is assessing where remember what we did earlier? Where am I feeling the most stimulus?
I can do.
Is my heart beating fast? Am I feeling hot in my head?
My stomach.
Am my stomach tightening? Identifying what's happening in the body. Scan the body. See where you're turning off or shutting down. Start to infuse those spaces with the next step is breath. Now, I am not telling anyone to breathe this way, breathe that way, but breathe.
Just breathe.
Don't hold your breath.
Yeah.
Breathe. So breath is a part of the body. And what I mean is that intention is what sits on the breath. It's a part of your vitality, of course. So there's something that's on that. So start to infuse the parts of yourself. If you're feeling your knots in your stomach, start to breathe into the belly. So relax the belly. This is how you can take the pause. The pause can be
That's when
this.
the pause. Yeah. That's how the pause can happen.
The pause, because we talk about it, but what does it look like in action? Okay. Oh, everyone's showing up. Okay.
Everyone's here.
We're all here. Okay. The body is, my stomach feels, my chest feels. All right. Let me start to breathe. Take the breath. Okay. All right. Now you've got your breath. You've got your presence. This is presence. This is presence, awareness. That's what it is. So now you've got that. Once you've infused your breath into the parts of your physical body that is starting to shut down or whatever you want to call it, then you can start to activate things that are going to help a rewiring, if you will, circuitry. And this is where mudras come into the scene. I love mudras. So, okay, mudra means gestures, and there are many, many different types of mudras, and I'm going to speak specifically to hand mudras or hasta mudras. And so that we're clear, gestures or hand gestures you will find it in all cultures. You will find it in all sorts of iconography. You will see the power of hand gestures depicted in many art, everything. Even when we speak with our hands, that in and of itself is a power, circuitry, energetic, somatic practice. And so if you're in the midst of a conflict, let us take for a moment, we can do like a romantic relationship. That's fine. But you can also bring this into relationships with, coworkers.
And this can work with anybody.
This can work with anyone. I want to preface that and make sure that's clear. So one of my favorite mudras or hand gestures is called prana mudra, energy vitality mudra or gesture. You will take your hands out like this, and then take your ring finger, pinky finger, and let it hit the thumb. And you have your index and your, what is this called? Middle finger extended.
The other one. The remaining finger.
Sometimes I'm good with it. Sometimes I'm not. You can do it with both hands, right? Now, if you think about how you typically hold your hands, sometimes you may have noticed that even me, I was doing a few mudras when I'm like in conversation because I do it unconsciously. So you can do it without it being so overt.
Hold on.
Hey,
we're in the middle of conflict. Wait a minute. Just like,
okay,
we're not. Or you can, but
you don't have to.
Because this is actually for you.
Right. Exactly. You're not emphasizing. Yeah. So you can just take your hands to this. So prana, this particular mudra, is going to help that energetic, that circuitry of vitality. So if you feel through those processes, okay, I'm constricting. Let me start to open up my life force. Let me start to open up my energy. Let me come into prana mudra and breathe. And just take the moment there. Take some breaths and pause. And then if you are in the state of needing to be clear and focused and listening, then you can take dhyana, or a sense of concentration gesture. And you would take, it depends on who you ask. I tend to go left hand resting, right hand on top of left. And you can just place, like you would place your hands in your lap, just flip your palms over. Left or right, and then letting the thumbs touch. And this is, again, the circuitry of connection, and it's going through the heart space. Everything starts with the heart. And you might be like, what is this? I would not steer you wrong. I promise you I wouldn't. This is a way to contain, but also gives you an opportunity to focus. Think about being open-bodied and like when you're in conflict.
Yeah.
Okay, let's bring this in.
Yeah. It gives you, even if if you don't subscribe to or sit with or are in alignment or connected to the energies of it and the way that it moves, just doing this forces you to refocus.
Right.
It kind of forces everything to come down. You start noticing your knuckles, you're noticing your fingers. When you're doing this, you're like, it forces your brain to be like, well, we have to slow down because something else is happening right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So these things are so important to take on as a habitual part of your life. And then you've gone through being aware, opening up your vitality, being able to focus and be present, right? And now it's time for you to assert. Oh my gosh, she said assert. Assertiveness is not a negative thing. It's a good thing. Yeah. We want to be assertive. So,
episode 4.
Oh, I was about to
because you're about to. I saw it. I saw it.
But no, I do want to
see that assert. Episode 4.
But in asserting, the mudra that you would do is hakini, or this being able to speak. Now I'm going to give you the a picture. If you think of power poses that you would do with your hands, and you think of an image of someone who is in a seat of power, if you will. There are many versions of what that look like. But one of the power poses you see is a steepled hand. This is Hakini. Hakini Mudra. So this is, if you were on a desk and you have the steepled hands, you see those photos of like power leaders, world leaders, and these like different. But no, so you can come into Hakini Mudra. You don't have to do the steepled hand up, but you can just come into bringing your hands in this space. Again, all the
energy, the focus comes back.
The focus comes back. And our hands are such powerful
conductors.
I mean, truly. And one of the somatic sessions, I will walk you through some hand exercises so that you can start to invite in a mudra practice for your daily life. I'll get your hands nice and active, but you want to utilize your tools, and you don't need props. All you need is yourself.
All you need is yourself. I love that. So we're naming all the ways that when conflict shows up with other people, how do we manage it? How do we hold it? How do we repair? What does that look like? And we both know things that happen external start with the self.
For sure.
Right? And so it actually really does start with what conflict are we having in ourselves that may be getting activated by others. And one of the questions that I often hear, and I'm sure you hear as well, is how do I manage? What do I do when I feel like I'm in a constant battle with myself? You know where I'm going with this. People may not call it being in a constant battle. They may call it their inner critic. And so, yeah, we're gonna take a deep breath with that one. I'm curious, before we get into the pieces around it, what is your relationship like with your inner critic?
Well, I tend to be the most critical of myself, the most, and I'm very aware of it. And I also get very frustrated with all of this awareness, all of this work and knowledge, all of the everything. Still not being able to, in my mind, quiet that.
Yeah.
And I get frustrated with myself often because I know better, but I don't do better, if that makes sense, you know?
It does.
And
it
so
absolutely
my
does.
relationship with my inner critic is tumultuous.
Critical.
It's pretty critical.
A little critical.
To say the least.
It's, yeah. I appreciate that you name that, because one of the things I don't think enough people that are healers or practitioners or whatever speak to is the work that they're actively still doing on ourselves.
Sure.
And so the things that we're naming for folks, it's not just we're naming this because it sounds good. We are naming this because we are actively going through it ourselves. We are on this journey with you all for as long as you will have us. But we are living these things in real time as well. And so you are not alone in the feelings of frustration and disappointment and annoyance and breakthroughs. And we are living it too.
For sure.
And I wanted to be able to name that piece, because the inner critic it's a real thing. And
right.
what do people often like to say right now? It's like, we just have to silence the inner critic, replace it with the inner cheerleader, or say the more nurturing things to yourself. And I get that. How often does that work for you?
Okay, so full transparency.
Absolutely.
I don't do that.
Okay. Exactly. Exactly.
I don't believe in that.
Yes. Yes.
That doesn't mean everything I just said still stands, but I definitely don't believe in silencing or abandoning myself.
This part. Because to what you named before, if all of the parts are in the room for the external conflict, it's okay for all those parts to be engaged with the internal conflict.
For sure.
So hear me out. What I think often happens, though it's well-intentioned, when we say we're silencing the inner critic, we're actually causing more harm than good. Because we're creating more shame and more guilt around this version that's popping up. And I want to offer the idea, and tell me what you think about this, around what if we try to not so much silence, but celebrate and integrate
for
the inner critic.
Yes.
Because oftentimes when that critic is showing up, when that negative voice, and yes, there's things around negative core beliefs and negative self-talk and all of those things. And a lot of those pieces have become coping mechanisms to do what we have thought in the past would keep us safe.
Right.
And so we don't need to be angry when those parts of us show up, because they are in their own way still trying to protect us.
For sure. So
you're trying to work on this project and you're trying to make this thing happen, and you have this great idea and you really want to push it out, and you hear there's no way this is going to work. There's no way we're going to be able to do this. Why are you even trying? Though well-intentioned, the critic is doing harm, but I offer the invitation to think, what are you trying to protect me from? Like turning to that inner critic and be like, what are you actually trying to protect me from? Because I know you mean well. You're trying to protect me from rejection.
Right.
I respect that. I don't need that in this moment, but I respect that. And it's just a different way of integrating and interacting with all the parts of you, because all the parts of you are actually important. They're all necessary. They all get to be at the table.
Yes.
They all get to have a seat. They don't all necessarily need to come up and say something in the group project.
For sure.
But we don't have to shame those parts of us, or shut up those parts of us, or replace those parts of us. Because you also do a disservice, because those inner critic and those pieces, those are the parts that took the bullet, so you don't have to in this moment.
Emphasis on they took it. And like, when did that happen? Right? We don't have to assess that in this moment, but like having a understanding that how important these versions of ourselves are. Like for me, because I've been doing this work, it's like I understand that this version of myself is like the teenage version of me.
Can we try something?
Sure. That's over here, right?
Those sister highlands. Yeah.
That's over here.
This is her. You see, she's messing with her hands right now. Y'all caught that, right? She was like, calming myself. Calming myself
why we're here.
down.
Yes.
Would you be open to having a conversation? Even calling it the inner critic is just like, it rubs me the wrong way. But you've named it as your teenage self. Would you be open to having a conversation with her?
For sure.
And, just to have a...
Yeah.
Okay. So
we're here.
Can you... First, I want you to take a deep breath. Would you breathe in through your nose? Out through your mouth. Give me another one. In through your nose. Out through your mouth. Continue to breathe. And I want you to think about a moment, the teenage you, which you've named as one of the more protective versions of you, when you have tried to do something and she has shown up. What is she saying to you?
She's saying, girl, you do the most.
Okay.
You're a bit much.
Okay.
It's great.
Mm.
She's always trying to remind me that this bigness is who I am. But she's simultaneously like see, you are too much, when she feels like she's being not held or not seen or not accepted in her bigness.
So she encourages you, and then when it doesn't go the way that you want, she's like, see, you, I mean, it's like a teenager. See, it's your fault.
Right.
So in the spaces where she's saying, see, you are too much. See, you're doing the most. See, you're da-da-da-da. What could you say to her to celebrate her trying to protect you?
Well, what I do say to her is, thank you for having a voice. Thank you for never shutting up.
I love that.
I'm telling you right now. I tell her, thank you so much for never shutting up. Like, you always have something to say.
Yes.
Yeah. I really do celebrate her as best I can to give her a voice when she felt like she was being silenced.
Yeah.
A lot.
So I wonder why you call her your inner critic. It seems like you care for her.
Well, because I had to. I mean, the truth is she is very critical, but I had to learn how to integrate her and give her love and show her love. There was a time where I was completely disconnected from her and completely unwilling to integrate with her.
Yeah.
But I'm speaking from this lens of now being in a better relationship with her. But I can assure you,
it wasn't always.
This was not always the case. And so I'm speaking from a present day version of connecting with her, which you just said, integration. That is the most important part. But she, for sure, is the critic.
Don't get me wrong.
I'm very certain that she's a critic, because even when, the concept of like, do it scared. Do it even when you're criticizing yourself, keep doing it. And so when she remembers the versions of these experiences that she has of like ahas, gotchas, great. Thank you for that so much.
And something shifts when you say, thank you for being in the room. Thank you for, and I know we can't, do that all the time.
For sure.
And I think, to your point, it takes a while to get to the thank you for being here. You are welcome to sit here. Yeah. Like with the mind's like, you can sit right here. Thank you so much for what you said. Thank you so much for sharing and trying to protect me. You can stay here. You're going to need to be quiet, because I don't need the help you're offering right now.
I mean, but I think one thing is also important to name is that I tend to ruminate. So when you're someone who ruminates, you have to learn how to get into a better relationship with all of the versions of yourself. Because if you ruminate on critical things, it can be debilitating.
Yeah.
Like it is debilitating. I know it to be true, right? And so the moments and the times, and that happens more often than not. It absolutely happens that my ruminations, that's why I said, like, my ruminations are not something that I take lightly, and that I do my best to be kind to myself. But
when you say ruminations, you mean the things that you were playing over and over again in your mind.
And it's critical, and it's like self-depreciating. It's like, oh, you didn't do enough. It's these things show up, and especially when you are held at a certain standard, or if you were expected to show up. And that's why I try to show all versions of myself. Yeah. That is a coping mechanism in and of itself. It's one that I embrace.
You named it. I was like, she said it. She got it.
It's one that I embrace, though.
Yeah.
Because it keeps a lightness.
Yeah. To the ruminating piece, and I appreciate that you named that and you brought that into the space, because sometimes the critic isn't necessarily, or the protector. I'm actually going to just stop calling it the critic. Like the well-meaning protector that doesn't land well.
Right.
It isn't necessarily always talking. Sometimes it is replaying the thing that you decided was a mistake, or that actually may have been a mistake, or a choice that's like, oh, that could have, why didn't I, and the things that come up are, well, what if this would have happened? What if I could have, I should have known, the possible future tense pieces. And the response to that is, and this isn't going to be easy to hear. You're asking questions you'll never get the answer to.
I'm going to start flipping things over.
And I'm going to say it to the camera. When you say the shoulds and the what ifs and all the, I wish I could have, what would have happened if, you're asking yourself questions you will never know the answer to, because that's not how it happened.
Okay. So I hear you. This is a moment where I'm feeling that's easier said.
Absolutely.
Than done.
Absolutely.
I still struggle.
No, absolutely.
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
I think it's one piece naming. So remember, we don't go from awareness to solution. For sure. Not that quickly, right? And so this is when that comes up, the ruminating and the, oh my God, I should have done this. I should have da-da-da-da-da. How will you ever know the answer to that? You know what? And that's where the nurturer comes in. Baby, you will never know the actual answer because it happened the way it happened. And you can still feel a way about how it played out, and you trying to come up with all these other scenarios of what could have been is actually just causing you more harm than good. And so it does take some time to get to a place where you're like, you know what, I actually will never know the answer to that. It starts with, I'm aware I may never know the answer to that. And then it gets to, and I'm okay that I may never know the answer to that. But that does take time. But that initial acknowledgement of that allows you to break the rumination. It's almost like you're almost in a trance when you're ruminating.
Yes,
and saying something like that does, hey, you know what? I'm never going to be able to answer this question. And honestly, ruminating is the thing that's distracting you from feeling the actual feeling you need to feel around it. And so when you ask that question, it breaks up that cycle of rumination and allows you to sit with whatever the feeling is: disappointment, sadness, frustration, disgust, because we will go from feeling in our body to try to make it make sense in our mind. And that allows you to bring it back. You'd be like, and now we have to do the work of sitting in the discomfort of our emotions, which not easy.
Gut wrenching.
But that's why we get out of our bodies.
Right.
That's why we don't feel the emotion, and we go to the place of, well, how do I fix it? How do I change it? And sitting in the emotion is the harder part, but that's what helps to break the ruminating over.
So if I'm dealing with my inner critic, the teenage version of myself who's just always hypercritical, what is a way to, outside of just asking those questions or bringing in the nurture, what are some ways, or is there anything that I could do to invite even more of a space of that version of myself being held? Because as I mentioned earlier, I know that this version is here but I'm also frustrated with the version. I'm also frustrated with this.
Invite her in before she's needed to be called upon. She shows up because something is happening and now she has to work. Invite her and be like, when you're in a good space, you know what? Teenage me, teenage Toya, can I ask you a question? What do you need right now? What do you need in this moment to feel like you're... Yeah. Oftentimes these critics show up in a moment of panic or stress or frustration. Have a conversation with them when everything's good. You can probably get more information that way, because when you're talking to them when they're activated, like, I'm at work, I'm busy.
Right.
So start talking to those other parts of you when they don't need to do anything.
Something just hit me. Oh my goodness. I'm pretty sure I knew this, but it's just hit me at the fore of my mind. It's bringing her, inviting her in, letting her be seen and heard.
Because that's all she wants.
That's all she wants.
And she wants to be appreciated for what she's trying to do.
Well, more homework. Thanks a lot.
Anytime. Our inner critics can go to lunch together one day. Actually, they'll probably go have a drink.
Yeah.
They'll go have a drink.
Let's turn this out.
Yeah. Good old.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Because this isn't easy.
It's not.
But it's the self-work that we get to do. We have the honor of doing as it relates to returning to ourselves. And it's the work we don't have to do every day. This is not we have to constantly work on, constantly do, constantly heal. You get to just also pause and be.
I endorse that 100%. I am vehemently against feeling like you are a project that needs to be fixed. I am imploring you to remember that you are a whole being.
A whole entire being.
And you get to show up as you are on the day, in the moment. And you get to have missteps. You get to be messy. You get to do all of those things because this is why you are here. This is why we are here.
And that means conflict will arise.
Yeah.
But conflict is not the end of the world.
And it's not the end of you.
It's not the end of you. If you allow it, it'll actually lead to some really great things. Thank you for joining us. Join us next time. Until soon.